Hey guys, welcome back to Suburban Ranch. So you might be wondering, well, why is Dan standing in front of this car? I'm here to see old truck content. Well, don't worry, we're gonna be back to work on the old truck in the next video, but now that spring is here, I've got to do a little bit of work on my daily driver. So I've started using the air conditioning again, and it smells absolutely terrible inside of this car. So this is a Tesla Model 3. This video will also apply to the Tesla Model Y. Both of these cars have issues with mildew growing on the cabin air filter and the evaporator core. We're going to show you how to address that today. And just to emphasize how bad it really does smell when the air conditioning is running, I've actually hired a smellologist, and we're going to cut to that video right now.
Ew, it stinks.
How are we going to fix the smelly air conditioning? Well, we're going to put in a new set of cabin air filters, and we're also going to use this evaporator and heater core foam cleaner. So we'll spray that onto the evaporator core once we have the old filters out. We'll link both of these part numbers in the description below. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we are in the passenger side footwell. We're going to start by removing this trim panel, and it's held in place with 4 push pins. So we've got 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to use just a little pick to pop these out. And you can also use one of these little plastic pry tools if you have one as well. Kind of helps pry them out. So there's the panel. It's got a speaker installed and a little light as well. I went ahead and unplugged that top panel. You don't actually need to do that for the next step, which is pulling off this side panel. I just wanted to give myself a little bit more room to work. So this side panel is held on with a whole bunch of clips that you cannot access. You just have to pull the panel out and they'll unsnap, so just kind of gently pry it. We're gonna start up here at the top corner. You can get your hand behind it a little bit and we'll just start prying it out. So there's a look at all of the clips. There's a whole bunch of them on there. Looks like we were able to get them all off without any damage. We'll have to just kind of snap them back on here in a couple places, but they look good. Okay, so here we are with that panel removed. We've got these 2 orange wires, and they're zip tied to 2 clips that are attached to the door that we're going to have to remove in order to access the air filters. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those zip ties. I think that's the easiest way to handle this, and then we'll put new zip ties in when we put it back together. Okay. So we've got the orange wire loose here. And then if we look all the way up at the top here, we'll see a T25 screw. So we're going to remove that screw next using a little 1/4 inch socket. That is a T20 screw. So now that we've got the right bit, we'll go ahead and try to remove it. So there's a look at the screw. And now, we should be able to pull the door right off. So there we go. So we'll pull out these filters now. So there's one. And then these filters are actually stacked on top of each other. So the second one, there's a little tab there. We have to pull it up and then out as well. There we go. Here's a look at the two filters that I pulled out outside of the car. You can see there's quite a bit of dirt and dust, even in the upper filter. There's quite a bit of dust between the pleats here. This car is just under 2 years old, and they recommend replacing these every 2 years. So we've got a new set of filters, but before we put those in, I want to show you how we're going to clean the evaporator core. Here is a look through the hole that the air filters go into, and we're just hosing down this evaporator core using the foam spray. It comes with this really nice hose that you can attach to the can to feed it way into the box here and make sure you get the entire evaporator core covered. Here's a look underneath the car. You can see the cleaner dripping out of the air conditioning drains. So the instructions say to let it sit for 15 minutes and then run the fan for 5 minutes. So that's what we're doing right now. We ran the fan for 5 minutes after letting the foam sit for 15 minutes. So we're ready to install our new filters. So this is what the new filters look like. They look just like the OEM filters. Make sure that you install them the correct way, so airflow pointing towards the back of the car. So we'll go ahead and slide the new filter in here. So there's the first filter and it drops down. And here's the second filter. And we'll fold both of those tabs in. And we're ready to put the cover back on. Here's a look at the cabin filter cover. We've installed 2 new zip ties. They just thread right through the existing clips that were there. So I just pulled out the ones that I had cut and threaded 2 new zip ties in. So we'll go ahead and reinstall this with the screw. I went ahead and fastened the orange wire with those 2 new zip ties and trimmed them off. So now we're ready to put this side panel back on. This panel just snaps into place. We'll start here at the back. There we go. Last but not least, we'll reconnect this bottom cover. So we'll reconnect the speaker to start with. And then the light. There's a little piece here that hooks over right there. There it goes. There we go. You got to kind of pull it towards the back of the car to really get this clip to engage. Now we'll put our 4 push pins back in. And there we go. Well, I've been sitting in the car here for about 5 minutes with the air conditioning running, and I can confirm that the terrible smell is gone. So this is definitely a worthwhile project if you have one of these cars and you're experiencing a terrible smell with the air conditioning on. I think the entire project takes about, maybe 30, 45 minutes, so not too bad, and you really don't need any special tools. If you enjoyed this content, please do subscribe.